to all. We are going to learn the industrial chemistry. Chapter is the eco-friendly fuel. Here we are going to learn the solid fuel. In that, the fossil fuel is a solid fuel. This fossil fuel are formed by a natural process, that is an anaerobic decomposition. Anaerobic decomposition of a buried dead organism. The age of organism and their resulting fossil fuel is typically the millions of years. That means the preparation of the fossil fuel, they require the anaerobic decomposition of the buried dead organisms. Then only there is a formation of the fossil fuel, but it required the millions of the years. Sometime it exceed to the 650 millions of years. 650 millions of the year. The other more the derivatives, the high percent here, these fossil fuels which contain the carbon, most amount of the carbon. This carbon includes in the form of coal, petroleum and a natural gas. The more other derivatives of this carbon are kerosene and propane. They ranges from a volatile material with a low CH ratio like methane to a liquid petroleum to non-volatile material composed of almost a pure carbon like the anthracite coal. This is about the fossil fuels. This can be prepared by the anaerobic decomposition of the dead organisms. But for the preparation of this fossil fuel, we require the millions of the years. Sometimes it requires the 650 millions of the year. Mostly this fossil fuels contains the large amount of this carbon, and here this carbon in the form of coal, petroleum and the natural gas. It also have the another derivatives like the kerosene and the propane. This is depend on the ratio of the carbon and the hydrogen. It has some benefits. What are these benefits? These fossil fuels are of great importance because of they can be burned and oxidized to carbon dioxide and water, producing a large amount of energy in the form of heat. It uses this fuel as recorded history. The use of coal as a fuel produces having a recorded history. But instead of that, it has some limitation. The use of fossil fuel raises a serious environmental problem. Why? Because here whenever we oxidize this fossil fuel, they produces a large amount of carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide is pollution, or it is polluted to the environment. Next is what? The burning of fossil fuel produces a 21.3 billions of the carbon dioxide per year. By burning of this, it produces 21.3 billion ton of CO2, carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide is one of a greenhouse gases. This carbon dioxide is what? It is a greenhouse gas. It increases the temperature of a environment, enhancing the radiative forcing and contribute to a global warming. It contribute to global warming. Here, which causes the average surface temperature of the earth to rises and will cause a major adverse effect. The global movement towards the generation of the renewable energy is therefore underway to help reduce the global greenhouse gas emission. Due to this global warming, here the more adverse effect is observed in the environment. Next is the fossil fuel also contain the radioactive material. It contains radioactive material like uranium, thorium, which are released into the environment and causes different hazards. Next limitation is this burning of coal is also generates the large amount of bottom ash. It generates large amount of bottom ash and fly ash. This coal, what is the coal? Coal is defined as a sedimentary rock that burns. What is the coal? This coal is a sedimentary rock which can be burned. It is formed by the decomposition of the plant matter, and it is complex substance that can be found in many forms. This coal is divided into 4 classes. Here we learn this coal is divided into 4 classes. First, that is anthracite. Second, that is bituminous. Third is a sub-bituminous. And the fourth one is a lignite. Fourth one is the lignite. These are the 4 classes of the coal. Here we are going to learn the fossil fuels. We learn their limitations. They have the number of environmental problem. Why? Because the burning due to the burning of the fossil fuels, it form a 21.3 billion ton of the CO2. This CO2, which is on burning, form a greenhouse effect, and due to that greenhouse effect, that is increase in temperature of the environment, it further there is a formation of the global warming, and these have the number of adverse effect to the environment. Also, it has some limitation of the fossil fuels. This is it form a radioactive material, and in the fossil fuels there is a presence of the radioactive material like the uranium and the thorium, which emitted in the environment, and they have some adverse effect. Here the fossil fuels on burning produces a coal. What is the coal? Here this also, whenever this coal is going to burn, that time it produces some ash and the fly ash. Then what is the coal? Coal is the sedimentary rock that can be burned. This is formed by the decomposition of the plant matter. This coal is classified into the 4 types. First, that is the anthracite. Second is the bituminous. Third is the sub-bituminous, and fourth is the lignite. First, we learn the first type of the coal, that is anthracite coal. It is having the this anthracite coal is a dense and hard rock. It is a dense and hard rock with a jet black color. This having a jet black in color and having a metallic luster. It contains about 86% and the 98% of the carbon. Here this anthracite, which is a dense hard rock which having a jet black in color and metallic luster, it contains between 86 to 98% of the carbon by the weight. It burn slowly with a pale blue flame. And it is very little smoke. It have a very little smoke. This is about the anthracite coal. Always ask in your examination, define the anthracite coal, bituminous coal or sub-bituminous and the lignite coal. Here we learn the first, that is the anthracite coal. Normally they having a general, all the coal which having a general formula C137H97O9. Here the anthracite coal is dense hard rock having a jet black color and metallic luster. It contains the carbon between 86 to 98%. Here it burns slowly with the pale blue flame and having a little smoke. Next is the bituminous coal. This is also called as a soft coal. It contains between the 69% and 86% of the carbon, and here it is the most abundant form of the coal. This is the most abundant form of the coal. This is about what? Bituminous coal. Next is sub-bituminous coal. The sub-bituminous coal contains a less carbon and more water. This contain less carbon and having a more water, and therefore it has a less efficient source of the heat. Less efficient source of a heat. Why? Because it contains the maximum amount of the water. Next is the lignite coal. This is also called as a brown coal. This is very soft coal and it contains up to 70% of the carbon. It contains up to 70% of the carbon. Here we are going to learn the wood, the fossil fuels, some of the fossil fuels, their calorific value and their uses. First fossil fuel is their calorific value and their uses. First fossil fuel is wood. They having a calorific value 4600. This is used as a domestic fuel. Domestic fuel. Next is a peat. Next is peat. This having a maximum calorific value, that is a 5400. This is used for a power generation and a local fuel for a domestic purpose. Mostly used for what? Power generation. Also used as a local fuel. Next is lignite. This contain the 5500 of calorific value, which is in kilocalorie per kg. It is manufacture of the producer gas in a thermal plant for a generation of electricity. It is manufactured in the producer gas in a thermal plant for what? The generation of electricity. Next is the sub-bituminous coal. Sub-bituminous coal. They having a calorific value 7000. It is used for a steam rising boiler. It is used for a steam rising boiler. Next is bituminous coal. Bituminous coal. This having a calorific value 8000. It is mostly used in industry for making a metallurgical coal. Metallurgical coke. Also used for a coal gas for steam rising. And also in a boiler and domestic heating. And the last one is the anthracite coal. This having a calorific value 8600 kilocalorie per kg. This is also used in a metallurgical fuel. For a steam rising in a boiler and also the household purposes. This is about the fossil fuels. Here we learn this is the type of the solid fuel. We learn their benefits and the limitations, and also we learn the coal, their classification and their calorific value and the uses. Thank you very much for watching this lecture. Next time we learn the next type of the fuel, that is a liquid fuel. Thank you very much.